Thank you for coming. My name is Greg Neitzert. I'm here with my wife and daughter to announce that I'm running for the Sioux Falls City Council to represent the Northwest District. Sioux Falls is a great city, and it's given a lot to me and my family. And that's why it's time for me to give back. And I think the best way for me to give back is to serve on the City Council. I believe I'm ready to serve on the City Council. As a City Councilor, I'll have three main priorities. My first priority is zoning. Zoning is critical because it protects homes, neighborhoods, and the investment our citizens have made into their private property. Last year we passed Shape Places, a comprehensive new zoning ordinance. I know Shape Places. I've served on the Zoning Board of Adjustment for the last 4 years. I provided input to Shape Places. I served as founder and chairman of Forward Zoning, a group that advocated for its adoption. And this year I served on the Billboard Task Force that brought recommendations to the City Council that were approved. Although Shape Places is a great ordinance, it's not perfect. There's issues we need to address, and there's been some issues with its implementation. I'll bring specific proposals forward to improve Shape Places to protect neighborhoods. My second priority is transparency. Trust in government only comes with transparency. There's no reason for secrecy, and there's nothing to hide. As a city councilor, I'll fight for transparency. My third priority is bringing a fiscally conservative mindset to the city council. There's two components to this. The first component is addressing the issue of our debt. Right now, 30% of our second penny sales tax, our capital fund, goes to debt service. There's an enormous opportunity cost to that. We need to pay down debt when we can, and we need to avoid going into more debt whenever possible. The first step to getting out of a hole is to stop digging. I'll help us to stop digging. The second component is addressing user fees and taxes. We've had a lot of user fee increases over the last several years. It's really putting a pinch on our citizens. The money you make is your money. You work very hard for it. It's not the government's money. I'll bring that philosophy to the city council and to city government. Because I believe that, I'll look very close at any proposal to raise user fees or taxes. I want to know there's no other option, and that we've exhausted every other possible way to fix the problem. So those are my three main priorities. In just a few minutes, I'm going to go to the city clerk and file as an official candidate for the city council. But before I do that, I want to thank you for coming, and I'll be happy to take any questions. Any questions?
You want to share some specifics on how you fix the Shape Places? What will you bring forward as your elected?
While Shape Places is a great ordinance, there are a number of issues, specifically the way that parcels were zoned under Shape Places. There's some issues with commercial zoning, the methodology that was used. There were parcels that were non-conforming that were changed to conforming, and that's opened up a whole number of things that can happen in neighborhoods that citizens aren't aware of, and there were mistakes made with the zoning of properties. And that really comes back to notice. There wasn't substantive notice to all of the neighbors and all of the citizens to know what the property was being zoned, and so they just weren't aware. Another thing is addressing redevelopment and expansion of large commercial uses in existing neighborhoods. We just saw that last week with a car dealership. We have to figure out how to balance that better to protect neighborhoods and to protect citizens when we have these large expansions. And I just don't think we can quite have that balance yet. And there's a few things that we can do to tweak the ordinance to make it better, improving buffer yards. And there's also some transparency items I'd like to address as well.
Where's the city lack in transparency right now, and how would you make it better?
Well, I guess the most obvious example would be the event center siding issue. That's been an item that has been of concern for me since it started about a year ago, and I've been very vocal about that. I don't think this level of secrecy is really necessary. I don't believe we should be asking taxpayers to pay for a building and then tell them that they have no business knowing what's going on with their building. Sometimes proposals come forward to the city council at the last minute, and I think they need to be informed earlier and given more information. The council is the body that sets policy, and they should be well informed by the administration.
Who's your favorite city council member?
They're all good public servants. I like them all equally well, and they all have their own unique characteristics.
Kind of current event here, distracted driving proposal that Public Services is going to hear tonight. If you were city councilor, would you want to ban cell phones in cars as being proposed?
I'm not. I just saw the draft yesterday, first of all, so I've been thinking about it. My first blush is nobody likes distracted driving, of course. The question that comes down to for me is this a state issue? Perhaps this should be something we should be addressing with the state. But then on the other hand, I look at a few years ago in Sioux Falls, we were the first to pass a texting ban. And then the state came forward and they passed a texting ban. And I assume that it had something to do with the biggest city in the state bringing it forward first. So we can be a leader in that category. It's something I guess I have to think about. There's a balance. Nobody likes distracted driving. Now, there are also laws on the books, for reckless driving. So if somebody's driving with a cell phone and they run into somebody, we do have ways in which we could prosecute them. So it may not be necessary. But having seen the draft yesterday, I'm not entirely sure yet.
How do you feel about your chances?
I'm going to give it my best shot. I'm going to work as hard as I can. I'm starting now so I can meet as many constituents in the district, hopefully constituents, I should say. I want to meet the citizens and find out what's important to them. And I think the key is to run a smart campaign, grassroots campaign, and we'll see what happens. Win or lose, it's going to be a great experience.
Is there anything specific you plan to do? I mean, this is like 7 months out to the election, so anything planned that the public should be aware of where you'll be in the near future?
The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start going door to door and just knocking on doors. One of the reasons I decided to come out when I did was because it's still reasonably warm outside, and I can get out there and start to meet the citizens. And I think that's going to be the important thing. 6 months sounds like a long time, but it's really not that long when you think about it. You've got to go through the winter. There's going to be times where it's going to be difficult possibly to get out there. And I want to meet as many people as I can. And having run the forward zoning campaign, I found out that the months go by very quickly, very quickly. So getting started early, I think, is key. Anything else? Okay. Thank you very much for coming.